El medio, 4 pies para arriba.
Hey everybody, welcome back. So, where we last left off, we were getting ready for drywall. We're in the middle of finishing a lot of different trades. We were waiting on fire suppression. We were waiting on the alarm system. We were installing the hood vent, tile, and all of that is now taking place. We're so close to the finish line. This will be my last video before the completed video, if everything pans out. We did encounter the delays that I was sort of anticipating with the sprinkler system. Mostly, it took about 7 weeks, almost 8 weeks to get the permit approval for us to put in the sprinkler system. So that really dragged things on. Mainly the problem was we could not get our final structural inspection, or I guess it's called the frame all inspection, until the sprinklers were in. We were hoping we could avoid this because all of our sprinklers are actually under the ceilings. So it caused a bit of a delay because we were able to get drywall on the walls, but we were not able to get drywall on a bunch of the different ceiling sections. So kind of a pain, caused delays, had us in this period. We were just kind of doing some of the little odds and ends for a while to keep busy, but we got it in and we passed. We have sprinklers throughout our entire system. So we feel very confident that if there were an incident, we would be safely covered by the sprinklers. So that's great news. Along with the sprinklers, we also got the alarm system installed, which for me was a big learning curve because I had no experience with alarm systems. They had to put in strobe lights in certain areas. We have one up here on the mezzanine. We have wall-mounted strobing detectors or alarms that go off. We also had to install alarms for any of the HVAC units that are pulling a certain amount of CFM or pushing a certain amount of CFM. But all of that's installed now, so that's great. So some of these little things that you kind of take for granted when you're in a commercial setting can be quite a challenge. On top of that, we had some complication with our hood vent installation. That was kind of frustrating. Our HVAC technicians offered to do the hood vent installation for us, but they'd never installed a hood vent before. Now, we were aware of this, but we had a lot of confidence in the lead that we were working with from the HVAC company. And he was very transparent. He was like, we've never done this before, but it's a service we want to be able to offer in the future. So they gave us sort of a deal on it. And we're transparent, which is what I appreciate. But they ended up finding a subcontractor to hang the hood, which is huge. I mean, it's a 10-foot hood. I think it's about 4 feet wide, very heavy, very difficult to lift up. And because of the way that the ceiling is under the mezzanine, it's just that contoured pan deck. It kind of goes like this. The installation is not very straightforward. So we ended up assisting a fair bit with this. And the subcontractor that they brought up was rough. It was kind of a chop job. We had to come back and fix it. He did get it hung, but he did a very poor job of it. And he was also going to be responsible for hanging up the stainless steel sheets behind there, which are not cheap. The 4x8 stainless steel sheets plus the trim was like over $2,000. And I had designed everything so it'd be so neat and beautiful and had it all pre-cut. And unfortunately, this guy came up and just did a complete hack job. At least the hood vent's now hung. We also hung up the makeup air vent that goes immediately in front of it. The system's kind of neat. I didn't know a lot about it when we began this project, but effectively the hood vent is just sucking up all of the fumes and smoke from the broiler and all the cooking equipment that's in place. And then that makeup air vent is just pushing more air in so that it doesn't create a vacuum. So that air comes in, gets sucked right up the hood, so that you're not necessarily having to pull conditioned air out as well, but mainly so you don't create a giant vacuum in your space. And we kind of have an open kitchen, so that would have negative effects for everybody in the space. But it took some finagling. We got that hung. There's another unit that does the fire suppression or holds the bottles for the fire suppression. That's called the Ansel unit. We got that in and mounted. And then we finished drywall. I mean, what a huge process. I'm very happy with our crew. It was a small crew, just a 3-man crew, and they came in and they were diligent. They went a little more slowly than we were hoping, but overall, they did a great job. After that, painters. And that's kind of the phase we're at now. I would say we're about 80% done with paint. It's a big project, especially painting the ceilings with this insulated, like a foam insulation coating over the top because it's a conditioned apartment above us. So there had to be some sort of insulation, otherwise their floors would be cold. But this insulation does not play nice. It's a real pain in the butt. We don't want to just leave white. We really didn't want a drop ceiling because that, one, is very expensive, but two, doesn't really fit our aesthetic. We don't want a big drop ceiling up there. We want it to be as high as possible, sort of cavernous when you're in here. So we went with the option of painting it. And the poor painter, he had to find like the perfect distance and the right angle so that the paint would go on and stay and not just blow off. So it was kind of like it was raining paint and insulation in here for a whole day while he was up there painting. But they're doing a great job. It's really, really helped define the space, and it's just, very exciting to be at the point where there's finished product going in everywhere. A big project was the mezzanine floor. Oh, what a project. We decided to not use a traditional flooring material. We shopped at a lot of different types of flooring, from your, cheapo laminate, click lock, throw it together, floating floor system, to like real engineered hardwood, inch thick, tongue and groove sort of stuff. And each option posed a challenge. We didn't want it to look cheap, so we didn't want to use cheap stuff. Obviously, we're operating at a budget. And we can actually only go up so high with the floors to keep the stairs working. So the 1-inch thick flooring over the top of the 3/4 inch subfloor would put us too high. So we got creative. At the home shop, my partner and I built a stage, and over the top of it, we used cedar pickets. Now that's a little strange, but we really like the aesthetic. So we decided to go the same route here, knowing that that is going to be a challenge. Cedar pickets show a lot of different avenues for complication. One, they are not an ideal thickness. They're always a little different. They are supposed to be 5/8, but they go from as low as like 3/8, some of them, below a 1/2 inch, up to 3/4 inch. And that variance is no bueno. So I think the ideal process would have been we get a big planing machine that you can feed every picket through, plane them down to the same thickness. But then they're also not tongue and groove, so you don't want to just slap down pickets. So our solution was to do parallel 45-degree rips on both sides, so that each picket can kind of tuck under the other picket. And we could nail through that little flange and connect them and put glue. And the other issue is the actual, not the thickness, but the width of each picket varied by up to a 1/2 inch on some of these. So we were able to correct a lot of that when we were ripping it down, because we ripped each side of the board at that 45-degree angle. But even then, when it came to installation, when you're putting these boards down, they just didn't seem to want to fit right with each other. They weren't flush on top with each other. And I knew that was going to be a process, and I knew it was going to be a headache, but we really like untraditional solutions. This floor turned out beautifully. I don't know if we saved any money. Probably not. I mean, the additional labor to rip every single board cut everything at random lengths, installing imperfect material, and then the finish has been a big challenge. I mean, every single board has been hand planed, and we had a big sander in here for days, sanding everything down so that we didn't have any of the joints proud of one another. Because up here, we're gonna have chairs and tables. So if you have a proud floorboard, every time you move a chair against it, it's gonna catch, you're gonna have chip out, you're gonna have endless problems. On top of that, to make it more complicated, we wanted to have this like cool angled aesthetic. So we have a straight board that bisects the space unequally, one side's larger than the other. And then we have kind of like a herringbone pattern coming off. It's a 37-degree angle that comes off that middle board. So every single board had to be ripped on both sides and then cut at an angle, a compound angle, because actually each of the butt ends are on 45s as well. So every single joint here has a 45-degree connection, and they're at angles. So it was a lot. It's also fully glued down, so we had our subfloor, and then on top of that, we troweled on glue and slapped the boards down and shot them. And the finished product, I will say, is very unique and beautiful. It felt like an unending process. We're still not really done. We had to buy a special sealant to fill all of the joints, but we're very close. I mean, probably another day and we'd be done. So that was a huge process, but it's gonna be something you won't see anywhere else. I don't know anywhere else in DFW you're gonna find a cedar picket floor, and it really pops in this space, especially now that the paint's up. So I'm very happy with that. Very, very, very happy. On top of that, we started the monstrosity. Crazy. Josh is putting in a huge wall rock installation, and on top of it being like completely homemade, him hand detailing every section of it, he's installing a running water feature and designing it by himself. It's really madness, but very cool. So he had to do all this crazy complex framing. We had to waterproof everything because there is going to be water running through it. And then on top of that, we're just spraying and he's doing most of it, spraying and manually trawling the cement into the, I don't know what you call it. It's like chicken wire. It's a grid metal pattern that will hold stucco. I guess maybe it's like stucco material. And right now it looks crazy. Like if you look at it, everybody's like, what the hell's going on there? But it's gonna be this really cool rock formation. On top of that, we installed, we put the hood vent in, but we also installed all the remaining equipment. So that hood vent is getting all the air pulled through by an exhaust fan, a big exhaust fan that we're mounting. You have to have class 1 ducting that runs into all of that stuff, and that has to be welded at every joint. And then we have an air cleaning unit up there called an ESP that will remove the oil and the smells from the hood vent air so that we're not causing a problem for the residents with the smell of whatever we're cooking in here. So we had to mount all that. It was my first time doing anything like that, so it was really cool having to fit everything. Luckily, my good friend Tommy's working with us, and he is an excellent pipe fitter. So we were able to build the shelves and put the big units up and get all of that installed. Tile. We have been putting the tile up in the kitchen and bathrooms. That's been a crazy transformation because for the longest time, like when you're just looking at the studs of a room, it's really hard to feel like it's big enough or small enough or how it's gonna finish. And there were some really funky decisions we made in there in order to accommodate the 5-foot turnaround that you need for ADA compliance. So we had to mount the sink at an angle in the corner to provide the right clearance, and the wall has this weird joints in both bathrooms. There's a weird step. I mean, all sorts of stuff that the tile guy looked at and was just like, what are you trying to make me do here? And he's done a beautiful job of it. Very professional. Loving it. He just finished the bathrooms. We're about to grout them and start installing toilets and finished material in there. But he's moving back into the kitchen. There's a lot of tile that's going into the kitchen. He's already done one long wall, and that looks amazing. Super happy with the tile choice we made. It was affordable and aesthetic. And when we were designing the kitchen, you know, you could go multiple routes. One, you could go just stainless steel everywhere, which for us felt more like, I don't know, a doctor, I don't know, what, like a morgue. I don't know. It gives me these vibes that just aren't, if I was a cook in a kitchen, it wouldn't feel like I was walking into a beautiful space or someplace that I would really be proud to work in. I guess it gave like fast food feelings. Or FRP, which is that fiber reinforced panel that you see in a lot of kitchens. Some kitchens just throw FRP up everywhere, and again, it looks, I don't know, too homogeneous, unpleasant. So we opted for the tile because we want anyone who's working here to feel like it's a beautiful space that they're in. Because I think that's good for the soul. It creates a better environment for anyone who's going to work here. So we're tiling most of the kitchen up, and that's looked great. We bought refinished doors. All the doors in here are going to be refinished. We bought them affordably, but we're maintaining the patina because we want this aesthetic of it not being this like big new box. We want it to kind of look aged and have this sort of long in history space feeling. I don't even know if that makes sense. Josh is the one who's great at describing these things. I am not. But because we are just buying slabs, that's given me the challenge of creating door casings, which I've never done before. Door jambs and all the trim work. Same thing with the windows that I'm hanging up in the private room. I'm building all those jambs, things that I've never done before. But we know it's going to look fantastic. It already does. I'm very happy with the door. Bathroom doors are sliding, which is unique and has posed a bunch of its own problems. But we wanted a really small footprint for the bathrooms. And we're, again, using reclaimed doors. And we want to stain them. So I have had this like crazy long process at home of stripping the paint off of these two doors that we purchased. I told Josh it'd be no big deal. It would take me like an hour, no problem. Just buy some paint stripper, lay it on, scrape it off. Bada bing, bada boom. We got doors. There is like at least 10 layers of paint on these doors. And it has been a Sisyphean challenge. You know, the guy who rolls the boulder uphill his whole life. I have just been in my backyard scraping paint for at least 20 hours, and I'm still almost only done with the first door. So the place where we bought those reclaimed doors, I'm inviting them to the opening, and they better appreciate all the effort that I put into these reclaimed doors. But it's cool. I really don't like the idea of just buying cheap, like hollow core doors and throwing them in. They have no character. We want this place to have so much character. We want it to look very intentional, like creative. We don't want it to just be like a Chipotle or something. So very happy with that. Even though most of these steps incur a lot more work on our parts, I feel like that's what's necessary to have a completely unique space. No one's going to walk in here and think this looks just like any other place, except for maybe the first location, because they have blended aesthetics. So, yeah, just a crazy amount of work's been going on, and we're so close to the finish line. We're going to start putting on the trim covers for all the HVAC. The painting's almost done. The rock wall is the big thing. Oh, we got our quartz countertop, or waterfall quartz countertop put in downstairs. There's still a little section we have to put on. We've determined how we want the rest of the tile in that area. I've built the cabinets for the most part. Now I'm about to trim the cabinets out so that they look really nice. Again, I've never built cabinets, so this is the first time thing, and I've already learned a lot of lessons. When I build the next shop, I'm going to do it completely different because of all the unexpected complications from building cabinets without experience. But I know they're strong and durable, and they'll be very aesthetic when they're done. So, trying to think what else. Wi-Fi is getting installed right now. On Monday, we're getting the concrete floors finished. They're going to come in and grind all of the concrete floors down just a little bit, and then they're going to come over the top with a matte finish epoxy sealer that is going to make it clean. It's not going to stain, all these sorts of things for the durability of the floor. It's very important to have this. Oh, we had some unexpected items. There was a leak from that. darn pipe right there under our slab. So we had plumbers come in and jackhammer a big hole in the slab, which was a real bummer. It's literally right in front of the front door. But we're turning lemon into lemonades. Josh is going to make that a really cool aesthetic. All of his countertops, which you'll see, I don't know if those were in the last video or not, but we poured all the countertops out of concrete, and he meticulously embedded geodes and little pieces of rock to make it look like it was chiseled out of a single piece, like we chiseled it out of a mountain. And that's very intentional because the restaurant concept, I don't know if I've spoken about it on this channel yet, but the restaurant concept is meant to have the aesthetic of a seaside cave, as if everything was carved out of bedrock. And he did a great job with that. So we're going to sort of duplicate that crystal and geode structure in the floor. So right when you walk in, there's going to be a spot in the floor that's like, I don't know, it's going to look really cool. It's going to have crystals and geodes embedded in it. And I think that pretty much brings us to date. There were a bunch of other little things, I'm sure. We got all the lights hung and turned on. And we're so close. I don't know, I feel like that's what I was saying at the end of the last video. We are so stinking close to the finish line. People are constantly asking me, when are you going to be open? When are you going to be open? And I want to be able to give them a final date. But it's got to be soon. We've hired employees. They're in the training process. We're buying equipment. We're going to start putting equipment in as soon as Wednesday next week when the floor is finished. We're going to start finishing up the bar entirely so that that's ready for service. Putting in all the stuff in the kitchen, you know, the water heater and the 3-compartment sink, prep sink, all that, so all the cooking equipment that has to go under the hood has to be installed for that final inspection. So yeah, we're almost at the point where we're going to have to just start filling the space out. We're going to start buying furniture and building and installing the furniture. I'm about to make everybody do all their cuts outside. So I'm going to be out there doing all my cuts outside so that we can clean the space up and not continually be cleaning and remessing, which has been really one of the biggest challenges of this project that I didn't really think about was how much time I was going to spend cleaning a space and then immediately working in it again. But you have to do that. You can't just leave a space incredibly dirty all the time. Then it infects the other work. And since we have so many trades going at the same time, I mean, just yesterday, we had plumber, HVAC, drywaller, painter, Josh working on his projects, me and Tommy working on our projects. We had the hood vent, Ansel system guy. We had the alarm system guys. And I know there's another one. We had like 8 trades in here all at the same time. Some of them were cutting metal, some of them were doing this, some people were painting. So this is just constantly creating dust and metal shavings and infecting all the different spaces. So we're about to at the point where everything's going to move outside. If you're cutting something, you're doing it outside. So I can keep this place clean. I also started just moving all the excess materials out, returning pipe, plumbing supplies, electrical supplies, stuff that we just bought too much of, that we've been hoarding in case we need it. And now we don't. Almost all that stuff's done. So we can just start getting all these boxes and big items and extra wood and all this stuff out of the space. Because you're always tripping on it. It's such a mess. And it makes the space feel cluttered and unfinished. But really, we are this close to finished. So we have to get it out. So, all very exciting things. Very proud of all the work. I was just talking yesterday with some friends, and the coolest part I think is every time I come in here, I feel like I'm just hanging out with friends. Yes, we're doing work. Yes, we're conquering a bunch of difficult things. But a lot of the people that are working here every day have been working here since the beginning. And now we're almost 9 months into construction. It was supposed to take 6 months. We're almost 9 months into construction. So these people have been almost like close friends in that period. You know, we've gone through so many different challenges together. And everybody's looking around saying, look what we built. I can't wait. One of the first things I'm going to do is host an evening where everybody who participated in the construction of this project is able to come together and celebrate in the finished space. I cannot wait to plan that, to serve them coffee and food and just tell them how grateful I am that they played a role in the construction of this amazing space. But I'm going to stop it there, folks. The next video is going to be the final video where you are going to see the finished product. Or I should say almost finished, because we have a lot of finishes that are going to be added after we're open. And I'll go more into detail in all those things on the final episode of the giant, enormous coffee shop build. Folks, thank you for your time. Like, subscribe, share, do all that sort of stuff. We'll see you on the next one.